James here. It's the holiday season, and it's beginning to look a lot like it's time for me to say a big thank you to each and every one of you. This show has brought all of us here at Live to Die so many presents, a multi-year gaming group that's somehow managed to schedule regular sessions that we've all attended, great gameplay moments and memories I'm personally going to treasure for years, and amazing people to share it all with. That's you, the listeners. I really do know that none of those things would be happening for us without all of your amazing, kind, and caring support and encouragement of us, our game, and the show. We are so darn grateful to all of you for taking the time to listen to our show. So please let me and the whole Live to Die crew say thank you so much. If you want to do more than just listening, because listening is a lot, you can reach out to us, catch us on social media, let us know what you think about the show, engage with us. You can email us at livetodiepodcast@gmail.com. You can also rate and review the show on your podcast app of choice, or just follow us on social media so you can see whatever we're getting up to. And if it feels right, share this show with people who might like it. But do me a favor, don't be pushy. It's not really our show's style, right? If you really want to do something more, you can support us on Patreon, where we share behind-the-scenes conversations and other recordings, such as we did a test recording really early on to get a feel for it, and that was a lot of us playing the Pathfinder 2e beginner box. We recorded that. That's up on the Patreon. We've also recently started releasing some new episodes for some more actual play content, and that's us doing some short adventures exploring other parts of the River Kingdoms, and maybe even exploring a little bit of a backstory to some of the characters that are currently in our main game. But, you'll have to listen to find out what that might be. As a part of our Patreon, each month we shout out one supporter at the called shot tier or higher. This month, that's Cody. Cody, you've been awesome, and the support from you and other Patreons has helped us make this show and even start to grow it just a little bit more. If you want to, you can check out our Patreon at www.patreon.com/livetodie. That's patreon.com/livetodie. Regardless of what you do, thank you so much for listening into this. Remember to be nice, roll dice, and enjoy this week's episode of Live to Die.
Roll dice, be nice, and stay tuned. This is the Live to Die podcast.
Hi, folks. It's Live to Die here.
Were you just trying to say something that wasn't so?
Yeah, 100%. Damn. So...
Oh.
This is awkward.
Oh.
I did want to start with this. There was some stuff that prompted this, but I think in general this is relevant, and I just wanted to throw this out there. I just wanted to say a big thank you to anyone who's reached out to share with us that this show has been in any way fun or enjoyable or impacted. We were talking about this just earlier today about how much fun it is for us to just get to play Pathfinder, with the intentionality of sitting down and actually playing a serious Paizo AP, which is sort of the dream for me. But it's been really awesome to hear from all of you who listen to this and have said that it's mattered or been fun. Even just while I was setting up the recording table today, I was on the phone with my sister, and she was saying that she really likes listening to it. And she said something correct. She said, I always wondered growing up what it was you and your friends were always laughing about so much. She's like, and now I feel like I get to be a part of it.
It's hilarious fucking jokes.
Trent doing a funny voice saying, he killed father.
Jesus. I want to make that my ringtone.
So,
anytime Trent calls me, he killed father.
Oh, father.
I think you should make it into like a beat, like a remix.
Oh, yeah.
He killed father.
Sherman, get on it.
So thank you. Because just those of you who've reached out to share those bits with us, thanks. That's genuinely super heartwarming.
I've gotten a lot of feedback about the smoothie dream. A lot of people have brought that up to me.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I will say on phone calls, so when I exercise, I like to put on stuff that's like easy to watch or sort of like exciting, easy to watch stuff. And so
It amazes me that you watch this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No.
I'm gonna. You watch Ahsoka while you work out in the morning. That's so crazy to me.
well, just during lifting, like for the body weights, I don't watch it.
It's insane.
That's crazy
You're
to me.
correct. It's insane.
That's crazy to me. Because I'm watching Ahsoka like with my eyeballs taped open and like 6 feet from the screen.
To me, it's insane that James wakes up at 4 a.m., starts doing push-ups, and also watches TV. And
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like, that's
wild.
just so many activities at such an early hour.
Well, this is really the jump on James episode. Okay.
I respect
fine.
it, but I can't
We're
relate.
jealous of your motivation. Your
I'm jealous of your
self-motivation.
hair.
Oh, thanks.
I'm jealous of your lack of kids.
You're welcome.
Well, that's true too. I would probably watch shows in the morning if I was not
See?
getting kids ready.
Yeah. You have a lot more
All right, kids,
responsibilities.
I need you to move out.
It'll be here before you know
Dad's
it.
gotta
And it'll
watch
feel
TV.
weird.
I know.
Yeah,
I was-
you just wait.
My
You
kids
guys
are
are going
Gen
to
Z,
be
they're never
empty
moving
nesters
out.
one day. Like, can we do another podcast?
Yeah, I won't know what to do with myself. Like
Oh.
literally everything I do is a kid activity.
I am
Mhm.
so selfish that I will find some stuff. I'll
Mhm.
figure it out.
We can all get together at the retirement home and play Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sounds
Actually, that is kind of a fair thing of like, do you think that when we're all old, we're still going to be doing this? We're going to be like
Probably.
80?
100%.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Probably.
that's fun.
To bring it back around, I was thinking about one of the shows I've been watching a little bit lately. Was I was watching some of the latest seasons of an anime called My Hero Academia, which is it's
I've
fun.
heard of
It's
that.
it's
Yeah.
watchable.
It's popular.
There's a great little bit in a flashback of an episode where like this sort of Superman analog whose sort of like catchphrase is like "Don't worry, I am here," or so like, and his ringtone when it rings is just "I am here, I am here." So it's like a thing you're talking about the ringtones.
That's funny.
I wanted to do a little bit of a throwaway little topic. We were recording some Patreon stuff that probably would have showed up on the Patreon months ago. We talked a lot about like what are some of the different books or games that were really key to us when we got into like being nerdy in different ways. So I say we, a couple of us did. I wanted to ask though, right now, this is a gimme. What are you reading, or are you listening? What are you reading right now? I'll take different variations of that if you're not reading a ton, or you read something or watched something recently. And a part of this is because I want to plug something that was plugged massively by Twitter like 8 months ago now, by the time this airs. I'm finally getting around to reading This Is How You Lose the Time War.
So good.
It is so stinking good. And I know that we have at least one listener who's already read this book twice. It's a stupidly good book. It's like barely 200 pages. You should read it. It's phenomenal.
I'm reading 2 books.
Ooh.
One is a Star Wars book, surprise. It's based off of the video game, like Jedi Fallen Order.
Ah.
And then Jedi Survivor is the second one. The book is in between.
Okay.
But I'm also reading this book, and I've only read a couple of the essays out of it, but it's Game of Thrones and Philosophy. Logic Cuts Deeper Than Swords.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
it's all these different like pop culture, philosophical ideas about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Because it's not perfect. It's not a perfect show. There's some really lame representations and things. So it talks about all that stuff, and it's really interesting. And I'm watching Game of Thrones again for the 3rd time, and I'm reading this while I go through it. It's fun.
Wow. Watching something for a 3rd time.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen. Listen, dude. I've seen Frasier like 10 times through.
Yeah.
that is the
And
most
I continue
hilarious.
to watch.
Where are you guys on Game of Thrones? You were watching it too, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But we're quite a ways through it.
I'm in 7.
Yeah.
It
We're
amuses
probably
me to
around
no
there.
end that Frasier is your comfort show.
It's the best.
Frasier's a good show.
It's the best show there is.
So what are you reading right now, Trent?
I am most of the way through Brave New World, which I've never read before.
Excellent
It's
book.
one of Jane's favorites, right?
Didn't I give that to you?
Maybe.
Did I?
Maybe that's your book. And then I've just barely started Dune, which I mean I'm like a few pages in. So
I barely started Dune 17 times in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always 3 pages in.
yeah.
I just finished Dune Messiah on the recommendation of a couple friends of the podcast, actually, who said it's. And if you finish Dune, read Dune Messiah, because Dune Messiah is like 180, 200 pages, and it basically, to me, is the completion to the story of Dune. Like it is in motion of that.
Right now, while we're recording, it's like fall. It's just starting to get a little crisp outside, which is when I always want to read a mystery. So I just
Ooh.
started a book by an author that actually is my mom's favorite author, P.D. James, who's like an old British crime novelist. Really good. And I'm enjoying it quite a lot so far. But it's like kind of just your standard like cozy detective British story. It's called Shroud for a Nightingale.
PD, you said
PD James. Yeah. Yeah. She's, she passed away actually a few years ago, but wrote like a ton of crime mystery novels with the same, and kind of has the like same detective, different crime through line. So her detective is Adam Dalglish, and he's, investigating all of these things. It's very like vibe forward, and I enjoy it. I would say like 7 of 10.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't read. I mean,
I don't read.
I've read a lot.
I've
in my
never been
past.
able to read.
Can't read good.
It's something I want to get back into, but I just haven't yet.
So what are you doing
You're
to
a little
entertain
busy.
yourself?
Watching Bubble Guppies?
Yeah, pretty much.
Watching children.
Hold on
Keeping
a second.
4 children alive.
Yeah.
I just want to put it out there. Bubble Guppies, it's fucking legit.
It's not so bad. That one is the one
And
that I'm
Little
not always
Einsteins.
messing.
I watched Bubble Guppies with your child when I was
That's
trying
true.
to babysit him while you were playing laser tag.
That's true.
And he was screaming in an arcade, and I was like, everyone, I swear I'm not kidnapping this kid. And I was actually telling Trent about this the other day while he was watching our friend's baby. But this started with like everything was totally fine.
Yep.
We were getting along. Jared's son was like a year and a half old at the time. First time I'd ever met him. And I was like, you go play a round of laser tag. I'll watch your kid. And everything was cool for like 5 minutes. And it ended with his son just pressed up against the door to the laser tag room going, Daddy! And I was like, this could have gone better.
Yeah.
That's how all my relationships end too.
Wow.
That's a fun little specific deep tuck. That's sort of an origin story to this podcast.
I don't think I had ever, well,
That's how
I think
I
I
met you.
had met you guys like briefly, but not Jason and Jared, that is. I don't think that I'd ever
No,
really
I
like hung
met
out
you
with
there.
you. Yeah, I guess.
think
Yeah,
I talked to you
I think maybe I met you
via
there
text,
too.
but I met you there.
Because I think friend of the podcast, Lauren, like provided a lot of contact info.
it was
for
Zach,
Jane.
actually.
Oh, Zach had a lot of it? Okay.
Yeah, because
The two of them were
y'all
big
know our
connectors.
friend Zach, and for James's birthday, I wanted to orchestrate. I knew how much fun he'd had hanging out with you guys and like playing games and stuff like that right after y'all met.
Just being a
And
goddamn geek.
I know,
Just hanging out.
I know. And James was like, hey, remember those guys that we met briefly at a bar? I'm going over to his house, Jason's house, today to play games. And I was like, well, I sure hope you're not going to get abducted. But no, anyway, they had been like talking and having fun.
mostly
It was
left him
James's
intact.
birthday.
Mostly.
And I was like, hey, Zach, can I get those dudes' numbers? And we'd orchestrate a fun little surprise laser tag event.
Yeah, and it was
I
actually
was so out of breath.
Yeah,
we
and
were playing
actually,
the fuck
I
out of
crushed
some
it.
laser tag.
that was a blast.
and Jared's kids literally had Matt and I like back to back, both just like screaming as they were holding us at like gunpoint, being like, drop your laser guns. And we were like, oh my God. And Matt was like, I was in the army and I've never been so scared. And he was like, he looked at me and he goes, it's an honor to die with you today.
Yeah, that was a hoot. And then it was like, I think a week or two after that, Jared, you and I were texting and the
Yeah.
podcast came up and you were like, I don't know, maybe we should just do it.
Yeah.
And then
It was more like, have you ever thought about it?
I was like, maybe.
And I was like, you should do it. And then you're like, do you want to do it? And I was like, all right.
yeah. Then I think we reached out to Jason and I was like,
Yeah.
you want in? And he was like, yes.
Obviously.
And speaking of just doing it,
Well, you know what made me laugh about that story is the next time when we were all went in there and that group of teenagers was sitting with us.
Oh, that's right. Because we were like in a public laser tag place. So like we did a free for all against
Yeah.
ourselves. And then they were like, oh, another group's going to come and join you in this room. Do you guys want to do separate teams?
And the teenagers were like, yeah, we don't want to be on their team. And
Yeah.
I think all of us looked at each other like, okay, let's fucking wreck these kids.
And we did.
And that's what happened.
And
We,
we did.
we wrecked those kids.
And Jared's like 2 kids were like, we're going to get him.
I always like laser
Ruthless.
tag because I can like reach over walls and stuff. So I'm always like going down, back up, down, up, just shooting over.
Because you're a giant.
Yeah, yeah. You got to use it to your advantage.
You know what else is giant? This old sycamore tree that
It's
you
Ah.
are underneath.
Are still in somehow.
Well, I believe where we last left our adventuring heroes, you had sort of just wrapped up talking with a kobold named Mik Mek. who'd shared some information with you. And with that information, you were sort of now set out. So I suppose for the sake of everyone's sanity, we could do a little bit of like and speed this up a little. It's a fast forward, not
That
a
would be
rewind sound.
fantastic.
And you can now be outside of the sycamore.
Can we just talk about how it really sounds like Tartuk and Tartuccio is just like too close to be a coincidence?
Come on, what are the chances?
And it's like a weird.
Yeah, like
purple-
a weird circumstance of like, oh, let me come in and manipulate this whole little society.
Literally a week ago, like it started.
And remember how weird he was with Biff being like, oh, my servant is here. Like when Biff came in, or he was like, well, he said something when we found him and he was like, oh, thank God, like one of my henchmen is here to protect me or something.
Oh, I don't remember that, but like when he was all
when we were like getting
dead.
when we were getting attacked, and then Ari ran in there and found him, and then Biff came in and like held him down. I was like, don't move.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, one of my henchmen is here. I was like, sus.
Interesting.
I have another question.
Sure.
Is there a recall knowledge that I could roll to find if I've ever heard of a purple kobold before?
Sure. That's going to be I'll take on probably a society.
Society.
Recall knowledge kobold.
What's your, I mean, if you have lore kobold or anything, I'll take a society though. What's your bonus?
No, my lures are like hunting. Society is +4.
Okay. You haven't, but you've heard of kobolds being many different colors, sort of whatever suits the story for the most part. You haven't met a purple kobold, but you've not met a ton of kobolds, I'm guessing. So that doesn't confirm or deny anything for you.
Okay.
So I think you all make it up out of this hole in the roots of this giant old sycamore tree. Probably night now, because you spent quite a few hours underground there dealing with all that. And you've returned now, the company too larger than you descended with.
Can we, in this time, can I have been healed by my healer?
It's up to you.
I mean, I would prefer to be at full health.
I would say it's up to Nikolai.
Yeah. I meant you, the
healer.
players. Yeah, because after that fight, you were hurt. You did heal up Mik Mek when he was kind of talking with you.
Who will help you?
It'd be like probably 20, 30 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, but do you want to spend that 20, 30 minutes out under the night sky or
of
down
course. Under the beautiful blanket of stars.
So I want to say one other thing. Whoever is tracking stuff for your group, hands up.
Jared.
There is another
brought a
quest.
notebook.
What had been issued to you?
Oh, you're the quest guy because you got the quest section.
Mik Mek has issued you the quest, the sacred statue. Done. Oh, actually, you know what?
The quest of the sacred.
Oh.
I feel like the secret check drop is also great for when you get a quest.
Yeah, I like that.
So the quest, the sacred statue. When you complete that, you must deliver the statue to either. Well, you must deliver the statue. I'm just going to leave that alone.
Yeah, I guess
See what happens.
we could decide the war, probably.
And so you've come back out of the sycamore. And as you remember, you come up, you tied your horses a little ways off, and your llama, Nadrama.
The drama.
The drama.
And remember, you come out, and there's the little teeny trenches all throughout the little hill under the sycamore. The little trench warfare, the little 2 to 3 feet deep trenches that you can just step over, all spiraling, radiating out from the tree.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we believe that we have eliminated all of the Mitflits, or is there more groups of Mitflits elsewhere that are warring with these kobolds?
You certainly cleaned out this hive, if you will, but you would know broadly that at least myths are that the Stolen Lands, the River Kingdom, are rife with fae. So there are probably other gremlins somewhere.
Gotcha.
This is
But we
certainly
can
a
go back to
stronghold.
these kobolds and be like, hey, they're not going to come here and steal your stuff again.
Maybe.
Probably.
You can say whatever you want.
Now I have a question.
Ooh, okay.
How far are we away from the trading post?
You're about a day's ride away from the trading post. You can move, because you have horses, you can move 4 hexes, I believe. If you're along roads, you can move 4 hexes in a day, or you can move 2 hexes without roads in a day. And where you are on the map, you're about, so even with horses, you're about a 2 days ride from the trading post right now.
Okay.
But it is also probably the safest place to rest up for any prolonged period of time and to resupply or
I was
anything
thinking
else.
more resupply as far as, I don't even know what they have. You know what we need to find is that alchemist.
Well,
Because I only have 2 healing potions left.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 6.
So they
Number one.
did tell you about, and I'm going to say, I'll go ahead and say they did sort of maybe, I'll give you this. They retroactively mentioned where that alchemist was chilling out at on the map, and he's between you and the trading post's current location. I was going to give you a number of like, oh, the alchemist is located at, but I realized that you don't have all of the like numbered grids, so that's
Right.
just me. So that's probably less helpful.
So I think Lucky would just be like,
Can you give us like a cardinal direction based on the tree?
I totally can in a second when
when you find
it. Notes. I'm like, fuck, where did they put him?
I will
not
also
that.
need you probably to pick up a repair kit
Yeah,
at
that's
the
true.
outpost so we can repair the shield.
so do we want to make a detour before we go to the kobolds, or do we want to do that after?
I don't mind slaughtering the kobolds or finishing all that stuff up and then
Okay.
heading back maybe to the outpost.
Who's slaughtering
Yeah.
kobolds?
Not me.
I didn't say that.
Ari just looks like wide-eyed at Nikolai.
I mean,
And Jane and Jason just look at each other in real life like they slaughter the kobolds.
Freudian slip.
So, Jason, if you want to have a little bit of fun here, so we have a little bit. We've used the kingdom marker or tracker. So I want you to take go from where your pawn base is right now. That's where you are, northeast. So Jaredward. You're gonna go 1, 2. Okay, so got that marked on the map where you generally know there to be an alchemist's sort of like hut situation going on. So what would you like to do? Mik Mek lets you know that the kobold, the Soot Scale Caverns, I've marked on your map as SC, Soot Scale Caverns.
Toward the river.
Yep, it's southeast of you a little bit on the way to the river.
Mik Mek, would you be
Mik Mek.
terribly sad if we maybe camped here overnight before we headed out?
No, I would not be.
I mean, that gives us a chance to bury your comrades as well.
I want to bring them home.
Oh, you can carry them.
Okay.
Knock, knock. Would you?
Who's there?
Yes. Would you help me forage for some sustenance?
Fine.
Thank you.
Ari is going to help cover up the dead kobolds and like tie them up to our cart or our llama, even though Arthur, for some reason, is being mean to all the kobolds.
Mik Mek would say, could we move farther away from the gremlin tree before we camp?
We're
Yes.
just camping in a trench.
Yeah.
One of the tiny trenches.
We find a
We're
nice
sitting
place.
and our heads are still above.
How long would it take us to get to the next hex?
To the next hex would be like well into the night, but you can easily get like, another couple hundred yards away and just like, it's not wild to do that.
Somewhere
Can
that's like
I
a little nicer.
Search for a camping site.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. It's camp time.
Camp time.
I was going to say, like, do we have a camp drop? We don't have a camp drop.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, though. There's rules for camping. Okay.
Dirty 20.
Ooh, yeah.
So we find the...
That was like evil villain voice.
Kind of is.
yeah, it was a touch. I appreciate that. Good for you.
Good for you.
Hope you feel happy and healthy. So you do find a very nice place out of a lot of the elements. You find like a small, you find that sort of like in the rolling plains, like the breaks where like a little bit of stone and erosion is sort of, because you kind of find one sort of up against that. So you also know that if water runs, it'll run sort of down that break and not directly near you, but some of the wind. And you can kind of set up camp there. Yeah, what's everyone going to do? This is your first time you've camped with more than just your party, really. You've got horses and the llamas.
I'm going to use knock knock
Okay.
because I'm assuming that he knows how to survival.
A little bit, but he's actually going to spend a lot of his time following you, setting up traps.
That's fine too.
Arthur wants to take the opportunity while Ari is busy sort of dealing with the kobold bodies and those two are out foraging. He actually kind of wants to corral Lucky a little bit.
Oh.
Sort of maybe when Lucky's putting stuff away in a pack, he wants to kind of like turn him around forcefully.
Oh.
Now we're talking.
Sure.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be so rough there. But I wanted to pointedly ask you, what is your entire reason for being here. If you're going to question all of my motives for trying to be good, what plan do you have?
I'm not questioning your motives for being good. Questioning your motives for the choices that you make with actual reason, as opposed to whatever compass you use to determine what's good and bad. I'm here to make sure that we successfully fulfill our charter. I'm here to make sure that we can kind of do things for ourselves instead of having to rely on people that have resources that we don't have.
So you're selfish? That's your entire reason?
You can call it selfless or selfishness, but I think that if we're not looking out for ourselves, who is? You're certainly not looking out for me.
This is
You
true.
guys ever been in a friend group where the friends are about to fist fight?
I was going to say, Arthur is starting some drama.
I will make an agreement with you.
What's that?
If I vote to do something and you don't want to, then our votes cancel each other out, and we will allow the other two to decide what course of action we take.
Fine.
And he puts out his hand to shake it.
I'll shake you in.
And if
Y'all dab so hard.
if Nikolai and Ari disagree, we'll let Knock Knock be the tiebreaker.
And he just kind of like goes over to the fire and he's like, well, handled that very well.
As you walk away, he'll just say, the bandits were just as guilty as the Mitwoods for any evil, quote unquote, that they partook in. And maybe less so. And we didn't bother to talk to them or give them an opportunity
I'm glad I'm not
to
here.
survive. So, just keep that in mind too.
He doesn't even say anything.
That was tense.
That's great.
Ari and Nikolai are just sitting in between them like,
Have you ever heard the song Kumbaya? Let me teach it to you.
So I think we'll cut over then to Nikolai and Knock Knock. Nick and Knock.
Nick Knock.
Nick Knock. That's cute.
Aw,
That's our team name.
It's your team up.
Strike Team Nick Knock.
While you're working on this, do you want to work on continuing to make an impression on Knock Knock?
I would like to talk to Knock Knock more about his religion.
Sure.
And more about how he became a follower.
Sure. So go ahead and give me a religion check while you're sort of talking with Knock Knock, and give me, based on how you feel you did on that check.
So,
First, give me the number, and I can tell you success or failure.
17.
Not quite high enough, but
Okay.
he's listening. So you and Knock Knock are walking along.
Basically telling him the things that I know, which are some of the things that we've already talked about. I ask him about his weapons. They are kukris, but they look a little bit like a falchion, which is the divine weapon of Lamashtu, yes?
Yes. He's sort of like looks side to side. Yes.
He's like,
yes, they are.
I
You
learned
notice
that.
Since you've met him, he's almost never sheathed them. And even as you're walking along, he has one in each hand, just out.
Well, do you ever put them away?
Well, you never know. You never know when you'll have a chance to cut someone.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And
You
even
should
as he
look
says
into
it, he
quick
just
draw.
sort of goes like, and like swings them in front of him while he's talking. And he's,
Da-da-da-da.
yeah.
How did you come to be a follower of Lamashtu?
Oh, well, my mother was, my father, and everyone else. And she chose me after I defeated the Hydra.
Tell me about how she chose you.
Well, the Hydra destroyed my whole village. And when I found my way back into town, I went into the temple and I found both of these blades here. So clearly, chosen. And yeah, I took them and now I'm going to become a god.
Will you, I wish you the best.
Thanks.
You seem very fearless.
I appreciate your wishes. I hope there's much I can learn from you so that I can become better than you and a god.
Certainly.
Yeah. I try not to have fear because a hero wouldn't have fear. And how could I become a hero god if I'm afraid?
What, I guess you asked, what class are you?
My skills are that, well, some heroes are strong and some are fast and some are smart and some uses magics, but I'm smart and I am fast. I make mini traps like the one I just put over there. And you look over, and while ramshackly put together, there is a weird series of like vines and string tied to part of a tree. And I'm going to share a little bit here because what he's working on is a special camping activity. Now, any of you can learn this from him, but he is setting traps and will set several annoying and frustrating traps around the camp's perimeter. If the campsite is attacked by enemies during the next 24 hours, the invaders suffer a -1 item penalty on all attacks and skill rolls on the first round of combat as they navigate the distracting traps. Any enemy whose initiative is less than Knock Knock's Thievery DC is also flat-footed until the start of their turn on the second round of combat.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
So just putting fucking like, not even full like pit traps, just like enough to catch like ankle breakers and like just little vine ropes around everywhere.
I'll
He's sort of chuckling to himself as he does, like, I'll get him.
and I'll be chatting with him as he does and just kind of like glean a little bit of that knowledge for next time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when somebody walking in front of you like pushes the branch, but then doesn't like let you put your hand out, so it just like smacks you.
I feel like he's putting up like Ewok traps all over the place.
Yeah.
Like some logs that roll out and you whoa.
Just sort of little shit while you're gathering. He's just working and building traps. And some of them are far enough away from the camp where they will clearly do nothing to help you, but they will just fuck someone's day up for no reason.
Great.
It's just his shit.
You're a very brave little character.
And he just smiles and then and spits.
Ew.
It's just sort of a weird little dude.
Nice.
So you're gathering supplies?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So go ahead and...
And I think the way we've been doing this, we may have been not doing it correctly.
Well, because the meal ingredients that I'm talking about in gathering supplies is in addition to enough to live off of. These are special ingredients.
Okay, and so I think that's... Well, let me get to that part first. How's a 21?
Okay, so that's going to be a success in the area. So that's enough rations for one person, right?
Yes.
And then additionally, because it's a success in I also have to do some cooking rules wrong. We'll get to that in a second. So let me find that stupid thing. Hunt and gather, trained in survival, spending 2 hours gathering ingredients. This supplements the food from subsisting with additional ingredients. So you subsist. There is enough there's enough calories for one person to live. And you're also going to pick up 17 normal ingredients, or I think it's 16 normal ingredients, and a D4 special ingredients. 16 normal ingredients. And these aren't...
You want me to roll the D?
Yeah, go for it.
D4, right?
Yep, a D4 special ingredients.
And there's a survival feat fairly early that's like, when you subsist, you get enough for like 8 people or something.
Yeah, there are like feats that you can take that... maybe my backup has those. Yeah. There are feats you can take that, like Forager is one.
Yeah.
That allows you to be able to forage more than just for
you
yourself.
get like for 4 people instead of 1.
Yeah.
And so one thing I realized is you've been cooking some special meals, and I was looking at common and uncommon, and you're supposed to have to discover any special meals because there is just a cook basic meal activity. What I've decided is that just based on Nikolai shit, I think you get to start the game with 3 special meals, which is the ones you've cooked. A hearty meal, fish on a stick.
That's my favorite.
What was the other one?
Or maybe you haven't done a third one yet. Because I know you've done a hearty meal. And
No,
I know
I
you've
did.
done
I
fish
did,
on a stick.
Did I do the ragu?
Galt ragu. No, Galt ragu is pretty high level.
That's right.
That's a high one.
All I want
Haggis,
is for you to
maybe?
make some ice
Oh,
cream.
haggis. You did haggis.
I did haggis.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm going to say
You're
you
going to have to
start.
find the chocolate, okay?
You just need an ice
It's the cold. Yeah, we need the cold.
Because there is an activity to practice a new recipe if you
Okay.
have more time. So I'm saying you can always do you can always do a basic meal, which is actually kind of it has a different effect from even a hearty meal. Because
Well, I want to try out the basic meal, man. See what that gives us.
But we'll cut back to that because I said that, this starting when it was already already February, March, so it gets dark early, so it's not crazy late, but you spent an hour or two to set up camp, another hour or two to gather. It's getting later in the night. So let's talk about what's been going on with other folks. Anyone else have a scene they want to do or a check, something they want to work on?
Can I sneak one in real quick?
Yeah.
I want to make an impression with Knock Knock as well.
Okay, when Knock Knock comes back.
And I kind of want to, like, maybe when it's just him and I, or like, people are milling about.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think we have another Knock Knock illustration here in Cook a Meal.
Oh. Is he cooking a snail like a s'more?
Yes.
Snail on a stick.
So it's
my favorite.
Knock knock. Could you tell us more about snail on a stick?
well, you take a stick and you put a snail on it.
Genius.
Certainly.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
You had a feeling what kind of skill you want to try?
I'm going to attempt either deception or diplomacy.
Well, those are both options.
Okay. Then I'll probably go deception. They're
Sure.
the same for me, but I think my intention is to be deceptive.
Sure. Out of curiosity, do you have what lores do you have?
Fae and politics.
Oh, yeah, got a 10.
Awesome.
I know, right?
You also did see him setting traps, so you think thievery might be an option too. But that's a different. That's sort of a talk shop sort of conversation.
Sure.
I think I personally have lore politics.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Is he a rogue?
What's that?
Is he a rogue?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
he's right. Yeah, because he was doing sneak attack damage in the.
Oh, that's right.
The fight.
Yeah. I thought maybe either like a ranger or a rogue of some sort. Yeah.
So when it's just the two of us,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, knock knock. I think.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Great start.
Or it should be knock knock. I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I think you and I may have more in common than you know.
Really?
Yeah.
You also want to become a hero god? I'm gonna be the only one.
Not that.
Oh, well, there's other 4.
We have similar skills, but I think you are the chosen one. I do.
Wow. Okay.
And,
yeah, of course.
I think it's good for you to know that, Lamashtu's always watching. And as he says that, he changes into his hybrid form, which is like his feline form.
Are you gaslighting Knock Knock right now?
Yes,
His
we say.
jaw just drops. He's like,
And I just give him a wink, and then I change back. And I say, let's just be sure to look out for each other, okay?
of course, yes. I will watch out for you. We will make the beautiful monsters.
Perfect.
That is the most incredible thing I've ever heard.
He's just so excited.
So I'm rolling deception.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope this is a
The
natural 20.
three-eyed gaze sees us.
I'm staring at a patch. I rolled a 7. Not great. Okay, that's 18.
Sure. He's like, looks at you. But now, he's almost wondering, like, is there competition? Another chosen of Lamash too. So he's interested, but a little dubious.
Okay.
And then he scurries off over to find Ari.
That's it. That's all.
Ari!
Oh, hey, Knock Knock.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Jesus. So what's Ari been doing?
Ari's trying to cheer up Mik Mek.
Okay.
Because A, he's reminds her of Biff.
Mm-hmm.
B, he's, sad. And
Yeah.
she feels for Mik Mek. And so I think she'd be kind of like
Mik Mek.
Mik Mek.
Mik Mek. Yeah.
Mek.
M-I-K-M-E-K.
Call him Big Mik Mek.
Big Mik Mek.
It makes me think of Mike or whatever from Thor, Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
The little
yeah.
bug guy.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. I think he's probably like exhausted still, even though he's fully healed. And so she might just be like regaling him with stories or like doing flips.
Do a flip.
Yeah. And just, trying to kind of like cheer up this little kobold.
So would you like to take the downtime activity or the campfire activity of telling a story?
Yes.
You sound more like a court gesture at the moment. You're like doing flips and like, smile.
Yeah. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
All right, tell a campfire story. You spend 2 hours telling a rousing story.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
What was
take
the story about?
take 2 real hours of the podcast, Jane, and please tell a story.
Just kidding. She's actually going to tell a story about a really brave kobold who had a trident and charged into battle and saved her life. And she's going to, talk about Biff. Like, they would know it's about Biff, but she's not going to be like, then he died, like all your kobold friends to Mik Mek. But I think just like, I think that she might think like, oh, this will be something that could maybe cheer this little guy up.
Do you want to give me a performance check?
Sure.
You've done a lot of campfire stories. You think you're going to train in performance at some point?
I am trained in performance.
Never mind. I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Because I'm a swashbuckler, bruh.
That's true.
It's a 21.
That's a success. So
Did everyone take performance this time?
What?
Seriously.
Did everyone take performance this
I
time?
don't think
Oh,
I
I was
yeah.
traumatized by the water
I do.
dancer
Yeah, I
from
did.
last season.
I do have performance.
So if you get attacked at all while you're at camp, you'll all get a +1 on attack rolls and saving throws during combat at the campsite.
Cool.
And I think it does kind of cheer Mik Mek up a little. And he maybe shares a story with you a little bit about. It's not like a grand story, but he tells you a little bit about his friend, Nakpik, who taught him some common. And he's like telling a little bit about his friend Nakpik and their life and what they do together.
And Nakpik is ostensibly still alive. It's not one of the dead kobolds.
He's back at the. So well, as far as Mik Mek knows, he should be back at the caverns.
Cool.
All right. So, does anyone else have campfire activities before we go to bed?
I want to cook some food.
You want to cook a little of that food?
I
I
want
want
to
to eat some food.
What'd you say? A balanced meal? What was it called?
A basic
A
meal,
basic
I think.
meal.
Yeah, you gotta love the basic stuff.
We're all basics.
Pumpkin spice latte.
All right, here you go.
and-
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Pumpkin spice latte. A little caramel macchiato for you, Archie.
Oh.
Arthur.
Wonderful.
RJ.
Archie.
Archie. Don't call me Archie.
Ari will only ever call you Archie from now on.
Arthur Andrews. Are there any other? Do you want to organize a watch?
Yeah.
Lucky.
I also
Yep.
want to have a quick aside with Nikolai also.
Go ahead and take that.
You've
then.
been
And
Jesse
just-
today.
And just say, like, so we've been traveling together for a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've built a decent rapport. Would you agree?
You think we have or have not?
Have.
We are getting better.
Getting better. Okay.
We are much further along than when we met, yes?
That's true. That's true. I apologize for being.
Obtuse.
Sure.
I forgive you.
It's a good word.
I accept your apology. Thank you.
Just between you and I, Arthur came at me a little bit while you guys were out. And we settled it. We talked. He had some frustrations with me questioning his intentions.
Let's kill him.
Is
Arson?
Ari pops up in between you guys.
You know what we
Guys,
should
are
do?
we going to kill Arthur?
You have the high stealth. I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think anything's going to go down, but just want to give you a heads up.
that is concerning, but perhaps he is just airing out differences so that they can be squashed.
I just thought it'd be important for people to be aware.
Understand
At least
completely.
people that
I
I trust.
appreciate you telling me about it.
Yeah, of course. And then I'll set up watch.
I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win.
And as when you walk away, Nikolai's like, I was not expecting that.
All right. So now here's an important question. For the sake of your watch, will you ask and or allow Knock Knock and Mik Mek to take watches?
Absolutely
Maybe
not.
not Mik Mek. He hasn't really
And
shown
definitely
us-
not Knock Knock. He's
Well,
a
Knock Knock,
psychopath.
We know has a plus 14 to perception, so I might allow it.
I would.
Knock Knock is going to kill us in our sleep.
All right, fuck it. I'll take watch with Knock Knock because I don't have dark vision.
That's fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
So if you're only taking 4 watches, because remember, we have it all
Yeah.
ruled out.
We've
I'm
been
not
doing 4 anyway, so 4 is fine.
So that's your total night's rest of 10 hours and 40 minutes in order for everyone to take a 2 hour and 40 minute watch. So Mik Mek will take a watch with someone probably.
He can
Do
watch
it.
with me.
Okay.
You're the only one he can really talk to.
Yeah.
And so, Jason, I did check it up. Cook basic meal is pretty rudimentary, and most of the benefits only last through the night until your daily preparations or you begin adventuring.
Okay.
So you can do that, or you could do like a hearty meal, your fish on a stick, or haggis, because those are the 3 that you know. Because I'm going to say those are family recipes for you.
I want to do basic. Just 'cause.
Okay, just super simple then. So let's first do our organize a watch. So go ahead and give me a perception check. Lucky to organize a watch. Yeah, honestly, with Knock Knock's bonus, if he's organizing a watch, you're all set. But he likes to set traps.
I know.
He just thinks it's too much fun. He wants to break someone's ankle.
I can never find perception on here. 25.
Okay, that is not quite. It's not just shy of a critical success, so it's a success.
I thought you were going to say it's not a success. I was like, holy shit.
No, the zone's DC is 16.
This is first level, James.
Okay.
You're second level.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're in the green belt, so the zone DC is 16 here. I think I've shared that.
Okay.
So you'll all get a +1 bonus of perception checks during your shift on watch. All right, let's cook the meal. I like to imagine you it's because you're only so far away. The sycamore tree is still pretty large in the middle distance. So you're setting up. There's enough windbreak for you to have built a nice cook fire, and you're cooking over it. The moon's up, and it's a clear sky. It's still cold, but not as cold as it was a week or two ago. Well, you put together your basic meal. Give me a survival or a cooking lore check, Zoni. Just makes me think of pepperoni. Makes me think about
18.
pizza. 18 on survival.
Pepperoni.
Yep. So your meal fills your group's bellies, but has no other effect. That's a failure, but still, just means it's not that special. You have put water in the MRE packet and leaned it against a rock or something.
Ari looks at Lucky and is like, between you and me, it's a 6 of 10.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised to hear that from you.
4 of 10, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
my
how about we
God.
split it and say 5?
She's also drinking from her little flask of the
That's right, 'cause-
bottle she took from the trading post.
Gets better by the minute.
Didn't you specifically, because there's a handful of bottles of alcohol that you took from the bandits camp that are worth
Yeah.
money, and didn't you
For the
specifically
Stag Lord.
take one of them and say, we're not getting money off of this, I'm just drinking a multiple gold piece bottle of alcohol?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like a $400 or $500 bottle of brandy sort of thing. That
I
you
mean,
are,
look, I would be like, oh, I'm not selling this. We're drinking
I get
it.
it.
Yeah.
I just
Oh, for
appreciate.
sure. For
And it's
sure.
actually, it's just I'm saying that I appreciate the character choice,
Yeah.
and I wanted
Some
to.
things are worth more than money,
I just feel like it's very in character, so we're gonna give
Thank
you
you.
a patch for that.
Amazing.
All right. So you all wrap up. Who's got first watch tonight?
I would say Ari does a first watch and then we'll go to sleep.
Ari and Mik Mek then take first watch together. I'm gonna roll some dice over here. Yeah, it's a quiet night. You can hear maybe some of those thylacines in the far distance, the sort of like scavenger hound dogs, but they sound very far away. It's quiet enough where you can almost even hear the river in the distance.
I don't remember where I saw it, but I think thylacines, is that what they're called?
I think so.
I think they're like actual prehistoric animals.
Oh.
I believe that, like a
I think
prehistoric
they're
dog
like-
sort of thing.
They're like
Spooky.
related to like Tasmanian devils or something.
They look a lot like they especially say that they're not dogs in this. So I believe that.
I'm not sure. I could be making that up, but
I'm down for it. So it goes to second watch, which I feel like third watch is always, I think second watch is Lucky, third watch
Yeah.
is Nikolai.
I'll do second, and I'll have Spike with me.
Yeah, so you and Spike chill out. You let the fire kind of die down. I'm guessing into embers a little bit. And the night sky here is gorgeous, right? You're miles away from anything close to a city in this land. And you can see the rolling plains lit by strong, early, I forget the March equivalent is, but we were making fun of the name of the month recently.
Farch.
It's Forest.
Yeah, Farast. The
Farast.
Farast in
Nope.
March. Farch.
It is Farch.
It's Barch.
It's a gorgeous, crisp Farch evening with the moon high above.
And when Lucky comes, so Ari goes to bed, and like when Lucky relieves Ari from watch, and she kind of like, I guess we have tents, I would assume.
Yeah, you're loaded
Okay,
up.
she's gonna go like get in her tent, and when she falls asleep, I think just there's kind of like images that pass by.
And I think Mik Mek probably is curled up right outside of your tent.
Oh, we could give Mik
No,
Mek
like
a
he has some space, and it's like a gorgeous night. He just like likes you, and we're sort of enjoying the story. So he's just like
Yeah.
sleeping nearish your tent.
So she goes to sleep and like kind of starts to toss and turn a little bit and is having just these flashes of like maybe dreams and maybe memories, and maybe there's a couple things of like images of her training of
Ooh,
an older woman like walking around outside of Ari and her sisters, kind of like changing from that into Ari like running through the night, and maybe even like Ari sitting, younger than she is now, but somewhat recently like in a bar as just a little scaled kobold hand passes her a mug of ale like at a bar. And then it kind of settles on just her memory of a dark forest thick with trees and like the moon and stars shining brightly. And you can just hear the sound of someone running. And as it kind of catches up, yeah, exactly. Maybe not so pitter patter, maybe more like Yeah, running and like panting, like, yeah, nice. And as this is kind of happening, a man like breaks into the scene, just like running through these dense trees, and he's craning his neck to check for some unknown pursuer behind him, like never stopping, just sprinting forward, but like looking behind nervously. Just as he breaks into a small clearing in the forest, an arrow sinks into the ground at his heels, falling just inches away from him. And he barely has time to utter a yelp before another 2 and then 3 arrows just boom, boom, boom into the ground as he's running. He starts sprinting even faster, trying to kind of like zigzag, like serpentine through the clearing. And he looks behind him just as a figure with a bow like emerges shortly behind him coming into this clearing. And she's a tall young woman, and she's moving like very precisely and lifts her bow again. And as she does, all you can see is the glint of like golden eyes. And the man turns forward, intending to make like another final push towards the trees on the other end of the clearing, but he finds a much younger person, a girl likely no more than 11 or 12 in his path. "Hi," says a young Ariadne Vex, as she kicks out, sweeping the man's legs from under him, and almost as quickly as she appeared there. The man smacks into the ground, and Arya leaps on top of him, attempting to pin him to the ground. The older woman at the other end of the clearing just drops her bow and is like, ugh, and starts to like jog in that direction. Before she can arrive, 2 other young women emerge from different parts of the forest to try to assist the young Arya as she's subduing her quarry. And she's like, "Stop it, I'm fine, I got this," as she's like wrestling with this man on the ground. And they're all staring down at her. And one says, "No, you don't. Give it 10 seconds and he's on the run again." And another says, "Oh, come on, Carolina, just let her have this." She's looking bored, and Ari's continuing to tussle with this man on the ground. And she's like, "What? So we can clean up her mess? She's too young to be out here tonight anyway." And just as that moment, the oldest woman reaches them, comes up to this strange scene of all of her sisters. And Ari's like, "Naomi, look, we got him. I got him." And the oldest sister, Naomi, now crouches down beside this man, like tangled on the ground with her little sister. Ari's got his like arms back behind him, and she's like, has like one foot on his neck, like she's all tangled up. And Naomi leans down and she goes, "Trapped by an 11-year-old girl, no less." She says, "You, sir, have stolen from the wrong person. And now Madame Vex has some questions for you." And then Arya will like wake up, like panting and kind of like sweating and just like, oh. Gasp.
Mystery.
Ooh, I
Interesting.
like.
That's cool.
I already gave you a patch for drinking, so no, I do actually do. Got a patch here from friend of the podcast.
Yeah, Kyle.
Thank you so much. Here you go. Here's a 1971
Ooh.
Walt Disney World patch,
Thanks,
which is
Kyle.
pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's got Goofy on it.
Yeah.
A gorge.
Damn it. So lucky you wrap yours up. Just hear some stuff in the distance. Were you able to look up? Is that an actual like historic dog?
Oh, I didn't look. I'll look.
Oh. Well, it's now
I didn't know how to
Nikolai's.
spell it, so I was trying to look it up.
Nikolai, it's your turn on watch,
Okay.
which instantly means like an encounter shows up. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
exactly. All right, sharpen my bow here and
There's a grizzly bear.
It's the sharpest bow in
sharpest
Galarian.
bow.
Holy shit, is it actually?
Yeah, the thylacine, also commonly known as the Tasmanian tiger or Tasmanian wolf,
Oh, shit.
cool.
Oh, I've heard of the Tasmanian wolf.
is an extinct carnivorous marsupial that was native to Australia mainland and the islands of Tasmania and New Guinea.
Okay, so what I'm
think I've
hearing
seen
is
this,
that I'm going to like for Brevoy and the like river kingdoms, I'm going to start mixing Slavic and just like right proper Australian shit. That's the cultural mix now. I guess it would explain the spiders that exist in parts of these lands.
Fair enough.
Hate that.
I'm trying to think of like how you'd say it. We did not come here to fuck spiders, no? All right. Cool. Thanks for looking that up.
Of course.
So yeah, Nikolai, your watch goes by. It's actually quite peaceful. I think that during your watch, oh yeah, you hear an odd sound and you look.
Sure did.
up.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
did.
did.
Dude, Syrinscape can kill it. You hear a sound, and in the distance, even though it's out here in the plains, and it's nowhere where it should be, you'd swear you saw against the moonlight on the rise for the second a silhouette of a stag just running across it. And it was like blinking. It's not there, but you felt like you saw it for a moment.
Without like kind of looking away, I go, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Did you see anything?
I wasn't asleep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I'm fucking alert.
Yes. You should check your traps and make sure they are still good.
Oh, okay. Check your shoes. As you walk, what you do realize at some point has tied your bootlaces together.
It takes me a minute to get them untied.
Like, it's a really good knot. It's honestly impressive.
Yeah, let's see.
It's like a low key. It's like one of those like ball knots that people can use as like a button on like a robe, and he has tied your boots into one of those.
That's funny.
What'd you get on your check?
Would it be an escape? So I would add my
You can do
athletics?
escape. I'd also allow a survival check.
20.
Yeah. And you're like, fuck, it legitimately takes you a minute. And you're like, this is really well tied.
He's a Boy Scout.
Yeah. He's a Lamash too. He's a monster scout.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was finally not an exciting watch.
And you saw it running east to west,
East to west.
towards the woods,
Okay.
towards where your dream remembers. All right. Finally, it's Arthur's turn for watch in the morning.
He just kind of stands there with his bastard sword like underneath his chin, you know? He's just like,
Gazing off.
yep.
The sun begins to rise over the mountain range to the east, and it's gorgeous in a way. It's very different from being near Lake and Carthen in the area around, especially what it looks like now. And this is like almost untouched land. In the direction that you know there to be an apothecary, now that they've told you about it, you actually do see maybe in that distance, you swear, an early light where maybe there's some sort of cook fire started. But even that would be, 20, 30 miles. Maybe you see it.
I'm going to get that
It's the
tattooed
morning.
on me, by the way. Jane's drawn a stick stag on the map
Stick stag. Count stag, buddy.
and signed it.
Yeah, its name's Stag Buddy.
You can see like maybe one or two cook fires in the small distance, but it's that feeling, that special feeling. Well, maybe not, but there's a special feeling for me that comes with camping on a cold morning when the fire is going, but it's crisp and you can hear just like
Trent
this
and I have never been
Syrinscape sound.
camping.
I know, that's why I walked it back. But you can kind of feel it off in the distance. Like there's so much here. There's danger, there's potential. It's so different. The danger here is one sort of intrinsic to the way of life itself, as opposed to one imposed on it by, say, demigod lich, for example. But it's otherwise uneventful.
I could almost see myself remaining out here. It didn't mean abandoning everything I know.
Who do you think's the first one to wake up out of all of you?
Me.
Not Ari.
You get up, Knock Knock is just out the fuck cold. He is sleeping like in the way only teenagers can. Teenagers and Jane.
Yeah, Jane, Ari, and Knock Knock are fucking...
Jane is also there, just completely asleep.
Mik Mek kind of gets up at a similar time. And so I think as the rest of you wake up, Mik Mek and Nikolai and Arthur are around like the crisp morning campfire.
Good morning, Arthur.
Hmm? Oh, yes. Good morning.
How are you?
Good. It was an uneventful night.
For once, right?
Yes.
Well, hello,
I'm Mik Mek.
Mik Mek.
Yes,
Hello.
I'm Mik Mek. Arthur. Nikolai. Yes,
Nikolai.
Nikolai. Do you have any food?
Yes. And I give him whatever ration. I give him some rations out of my bag.
Ari's like, he likes berries.
I do. I love berries.
She needs her coffee.
We could
Who's making coffee?
forage for some berries.
No, this is fine.
Okay.
I had not had much to eat for the last day.
How did you sleep?
Okay. I had bad dreams.
I see.
I can
That's
only imagine that would naturally happen after you were tortured.
Yes, and his like body language sort of closes up a little.
I spend all night trying
you,
to cheer this kobold up.
After you were tortured in horrific ways.
Oh my God.
Repeatedly over
Ari throws
All right,
a rock
several
at Arthur.
Hey, how are you doing, Arthur? Since you've come to our group,
Oh.
how are you fitting in?
I feel as if I want to push us to do good things for other people, and that is not very well appreciated. But I understand you are all wanting to serve yourselves mostly because of the charter you have. That makes sense to me. But it makes me sad, if I can feel sadness, that there are people here who could use, some good deeds in their lives, and you all don't seem so keen to help them out with that.
Well, who do you mean?
I will keep further responses to myself.
Certainly.
Mik Mek kind of looks up. You help me.
Ari points at Mik
You have
Mek and
helped.
she's like, I did help him.
We've helped plenty of people. I understand that perhaps some of our rough around the edges characters in our party who don't follow a specific deity may seem like they don't have a moral compass or any guidance.
And it's
But I
at-
assure you,
at this point that just oblivious to the rest of knock knock is awake and just, I follow Lamash too, and I need no help at all, but I would like to learn from you.
perhaps we just give some of these people time and be examples of who we want to be.
Yes.
And perhaps we can influence them to live a more morally, what you and I would consider a more morally guided life.
Yes, we can hope.
Mik Mek sort of looks up. When do we head home?
Well, I believe if we're all awake, we can head that way shortly.
Oh. Yeah, I'm good.
Ari gets up at noon. We have to wait on her.
She wakes up, the whole rest of the campsite is all packed up and waiting
oh.
right around her.
Even
head.
her chant
It's
has
like-
been put down.
Happened so fast.
So are we
Ari
off?
picks up one thing and she's like, well, now that we're all packed up,
We're off to find this ring?
we're off to send Mik Mek home and figure out what's going on with his camp. And
Yes.
yes, maybe also get the ring.
Sure.
All right, so the two little short characters and the tall fellowship all head off to go find the ring.
That's true.
Onward, Nadrama.
Damn it.
Yeah.
The drama is big enough that I think Mik Mek, who's still a little weak, kind of
I was gonna say I'm gonna put Mik Mek on the drama and
Just
I'll
holding-
pull.
he is
Yeah,
just
he's-
holding
Yeah,
on.
and
the
I'll
neck.
How sweet.
lead the drama and I'll just be chatting with Mik Mek, trying to cheer him up,
And Mik Mek
keep him
is-
away from Arthur.
A couple times during the day, there are some sounds and a few things. He sort of just holds tighter onto Nadrama. And then he looks over to you, Ari, and just, do you have a weapon I can have? They
Absolutely.
took mine.
Absolutely not.
Oh, totally. And Ari still has one of the little daggers, so she'll give that to him.
One of Biff's daggers.
Yeah.
And he takes it, and as you hand it over, he goes, "Ah!" and squeals in happiness as he takes it, and he's spends part of the day on the drama fashioning a little homemade sheet
I
for
was
it,
gonna say he stabbed in a drama. I was like, Jesus.
and then rides.
That dagger once belonged to a great kobold.
She told me a story about a great kobold last night,
Yeah, that's his dagger.
and his
He
eyes
had
grow
7.
big.
And Arthur's eyes quickly turn, and then he's just like,
And she'll be like, he was a great kobold and he would want you to have this. Glares Arthur.
So you ride for the first part of the morning. And it's sort of early afternoon when you can just start to see where Mik Mek's indicating to you some caves in sort of some rocky growths and outcroppings. You're getting closer to the river, but you're not all the way at the river, but you're getting quite close. You can hear the river in the distance, almost see it a little farther south of where you're going, until eventually you see what looks to be an outcropping of large boulders emerging from the weathered face of a nearby hillock. Not a mountain, not even a hill, just a hillock. And you see a narrow opening in the rocks leading down deeper into darkness. You can just make out a fallen sign leading against the side of the cave entrance. And on the other side of the entrance, you see a cage made of branches and sticks, and something small jumping around inside of it, shaking.
Is it a
and
mitfoot?
screaming.
Is it a mitfoot?
I don't know. Tune in next week to find out.
Like your father. The Live to Die podcast is a production of Live to Die Gaming. Follow us on social media at Live to Die Pod. Leave a review and tune in next week for more. If you like the amazing background audio and music, all that credit goes to Syrinscape. Make sure you check them out at Syrinscape.com.